it is about this individuality to gather this knowledge that's all given to all of us. It's inside of all of us. We all already know it. And I believe these aliens, or whatever one wants to call them, like, I don't even have a name for them. I mean, this is something that's just, it's too great to have a name for. They're waiting. And it's here on Earth, too. There's this ancient knowledge that's waiting. It's just sitting here and waiting for us to actually start gathering as a whole. And to see all this corruption and all this segregation and divide. Oh, I call it right now, I call it this is the Great Divide. And it scares people to think that there's something outside of themselves, because they're too tapped into their 9-to-5 job, making the big bucks, having the house, having all this stuff. Now you're a slave to it. You know, I could have all that, but I choose not to.
Wait, we're going to get you to wind down now, my friend. And just a reminder to all panelists, including myself, we do have a 2-minute share time. If you do get a clock over your head, we're asking you to wind your share down. So good man, thank you for coming in, my friend.
All right, beautiful share. Thanks so much. Just a reminder to the current panelists, if you have not weighed in for about 30 minutes or more, I'm going to need you to go ahead and drop down to allow for somebody else on the panel. We do only have 8 spots, sometimes 9, with 1,000 people in the room. So let's keep that conversation fluid. If you're done sharing, go ahead and drop down and allow space for somebody else. With that, we have another question coming in. If ETs are here, if they're disclosed, whether through collective awareness, government disclosure, or potentially the ETs themselves, does that change what we believe in terms of who might actually be in charge of this planet? Excellent question. Weigh in, guys.
I think that's an excellent question. I think that's a fantastic question. Yeah, I think if the presence of ETs were to be revealed today, we would have to question our current governments, our current world government, our current, whatever you want to call it, the cabal of the rich and the elite and blah, blah, blah. But there's something, greater than them, because there's something that exists outside of this planet. And there's a power and there's a being that can reach us from somewhere deep in space that we can't even reach. Like, we can barely get to Mars on an even basis. Like, we go to Jupiter,
I think that's cap.
Once every 10 years, like, we don't even leave our solar system, yet these beings can reach us from outside of our solar system. So they're so much greater than anything that we subscribe to or are beneath or whatever, like that we have to follow. And I'd say that, yeah, I mean, they're a much greater power than ourselves, and they have much greater power than we do. And the fact that they don't use it
for yourself
is really a statement in and of itself. And I'd love to hear other people weigh in on that, like why they don't, if they have all of this vast power and they're able to come and access us and they're able to come here, why don't they manipulate us a little more? Why don't they do anything else to us? But they don't for a reason. I mean, that's what I've been doing. So I'd love to hear other people.
We can go ahead and do that, but let's get that first question answered before that. So if ETs are here and disclose,
start with Jason. Peace and light. Start with Jason.
Yes. Straight up, yes. Sorry, Venus, go for it.
I was just going to say the same thing. Absolutely. Go ahead and explain.
I mean, I think it will reveal all the players, all the people who have played their part. And again, you know, some of the people we think quote unquote bad have just been doing a job and playing a role, and it's all part of disclosure, which I guess they're calling disclosure as well. I mean, this has been in the it's actually on the Awakening map. It's, if you speak to Josh, I mean, he'll tell you all about this. It's like, this is not new. I think they were putting it forward as the Great Awakening, quote unquote, the Great Awakening. But I think that it's individual first, and then it comes into this collective.
Interesting. Thanks so much, Lauren. Venus, I'm going to have you go ahead and give some detail on your answer as well, if you're willing.
Yeah. So, in my understanding, and actually it was very cool because I had gotten some channel information from my guides probably maybe like 4 or 5 years back. And then I started watching more of Stephen Greer's interviews. And he said exactly what I heard from my guide. So how to explain this without using any buzzwords? As Truth Ann was just saying, in my understanding, and this is for educational purposes only, there's the group that's actually in charge, and then there's our president and our Senate and our Congress, and that who knows nothing about.
So basically what they saying about, so we're talking about extraterrestrials. For those who hear, you know what I'm saying, make sure y'all please hit the like button, you know, out of respect, because it does help me get into the algorithm, and I'm definitely trying to break through. So for those who can hear the sound of my voice, please subscribe. And you don't have to participate in the chat, but at least you can holler and tell me where you're at. And we listen to my homegirl Be The Change on TikTok, you know what I'm saying? And make sure y'all share the live. That's why the reason why I really stopped the live, because so I can share the live, you know. That's why the reason why I really stopped the live, because so I can share please, the live, you know? Can y'all help your boy out by sharing the live and, you know, just participate. You know, you don't have to say nothing, but I would like for you to know where y'all coming from, you know what I'm saying? If y'all like what y'all hear, you know, I like to get to know the chat, you know. It don't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I know one day it's gonna be 1 million people up in here one day. You know what I'm saying? Cause we gonna manifest everything. You know, got to be. So for those, please subscribe, please follow, please hit the like button, so we can jump into this algorithm and really make something happen. You know, so let's do this. Let's do that.
And it has opened my mind because, you know, there's things that I don't like about, you know, our leader and different things, but it's like that kind of gave me a little better perspective, because I had been told by my guides that they're just puppets. They're just in the front line, and they're really not the ones in charge. So that is my understanding.
One of the first interviews that I ever watched with Stephen Greer, Venus, was like, what was that? Maybe back around 2000 and, I don't know, 13-ish. And he said that when he was briefed by government whistleblowers and really started to get into this phenomenon, he found out that the CIA director, as well as the president during that time, had both asked for information. They both asked to be briefed on special access programs, and both of them were denied. I remember thinking, oh shit, we are in so much trouble. We are in so much trouble as far as getting this information. And since then, he's remained consistent in that chain of command. And so it's interesting how some of these whistleblowers like Stephen Greer and Bob Lazar have been out there in the public eye talking long enough where some of their claims are starting to come to fruition. Would you agree, Venus?
Exactly. And I think that's, I always seem to start watching when it starts to come to fruition. I'm one of these people that I want to see where it's going when people say things, because I know things can change. I know, people say this is going to happen. And then, I want to see it happen. And when I see that things are starting to line up like that, I'm listening now. Now I'm listening to these people, and I 100% believe in him. The only thing I question is why are these other people being eliminated? He must be completely highly protected by these beings because he's saying a lot of stuff, and I appreciate it. I want to hear it. I want to know it. So I really do value both of them. Yes.
So do I. So funny story regarding Greer. He was never a whistleblower. He never had, he was never a military official. He never had a classified status, which made him a perfect candidate to be a face for UAP disclosure. But his original group was called C SETI. And this is simply my opinion only, but his words, wink, wink. Some of his original group members were no longer alive under mysterious circumstances. And so he very publicly made it known that he had put measures into place where every whistleblower that had ever come to him, all of the information that they had given him, all of the documents and the pictures and the plethora of classified information would simply be mailed to every media outlet, would be outsourced online to any influencer willing to slap it on their page if anything ever happened to him. And then he put a gazillion dollars into his own personal security. So I think that's why Stephen Greer is still alive. But that's just my 2 cents.
I think you're
and
right.
now he's such a leading face of UAP disclosure that they can't do anything, because then it's just going to raise suspicion. So I think he did damn good, him and Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar said, I came forward solely to stay alive. So, yeah.
You're making me think about that, because when I used to run something for the state, it was a program and we were trying to change some laws and do these things. And one of the things that they said to us when it comes to that kind of thing is to take it to the media. Always take it to the media. You're right. You're right about that. Good
Heck
point.
yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Venus. You know me, I love talking about Stephen Greer and whistleblowers. So any excuse at all is a good day for me. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? If ETs are disclosed, what does that say about who might be in charge of our planet? If you're on the panel, please have an opinion. Mars.
That's a good
Hello.
question.
I can't see.
It's a funny thing
Hi.
because
Hello.
can you imagine if we had an open knowledge from the day we were born? Anything we wanted to know, we were given the answers. We didn't even live long enough to understand or learn about every single day in history since the beginning of time, right? We just won't be able to live long enough. That's like asking us to count to 10 million. And so even with another civilization coming here, how much are we going to learn from them? And how much time have we got left within our own lives to learn what we really could learn? You know, we just don't have the time. We haven't got the time for this planet. So someone else from some other planet, they could tell us a lot more about this planet than we could. Sure, they could tell us more about the galaxy that we live in, but maybe they don't know anything about any of the other 100 billion galaxies. Maybe they're still young, but they just a bit more. And then there's the whole world history of their planet, where they come from, which we still don't even have time to learn about. So I think knowledge is in the eye of the beholder. We just pick and choose what we really want to know, because it's impossible for us to know everything on this planet, let alone anywhere else. So I just say pick and choose your questions wisely and shut the fuck up. Thank you.
All right. Don't mince words, Mars. Just tell it like it is, my friend. All right. Who else wants to weigh in?
I'll push back on that. I think our scientists, I think our whatever, our physicists and our astrobiologists and the people who are studying these things and the people who designed the satellites that are looking far into the deep background of space have a general good knowledge. So I think an extraterrestrial race that could escape all of that and be here and be observing us and just watching us, just watching us. They don't have to interfere or anything. I think that they would definitely have a greater understanding of the universe than we would. And I think that they would have a much better understanding of the galaxy than we would. We have a pretty good understanding of how, everything works, I think. It might be my opinion. I might disagree with other people on the panel, whatever.
I have a clarifying question. Which of the billions of species are you speaking of? Because we have to assume that there's different levels of awareness. So, and I'm not sure what we're pushing back to, but all truths are welcome. So essentially, I would assume that different species would have different levels of awareness. Yeah. Or are you speaking of one in particular, Aviv? Sorry for the interruption.
Oh no, Wendy, absolutely. Come in when you have to, calm us down. I'm speaking of the more advanced ones, the ones that are more advanced than us. I'm not talking about bacteria existing on other planets or anything like that. I'm talking about the ones who are more advanced than us, who are watching us, who are observing us, who have visited our planet before. I'm talking about them. It might be the Greys. It might be, you can call them whatever you want to call them. I think that they have visited us before. They have observed us. And they have judged us in a certain way. But I think that their intelligence does expand beyond our own.
All right, good deal. Thanks so much, Aviva. All right, who else is weighing in? T, where are you at on this one? Mr. T, are you with us?
I am. Can you come right back to me? I'm sorry.
Sure, absolutely. All right, Astro, you want to weigh in on this? Is Astro with us?
No, I am, but the gentleman kind of throws me off sometimes with the question. No offense there. What was where do we come from?
So
where do we go?
Yeah. Thank you, Astro. So if ETs are here and they're disclosed by whatever means they're going to be disclosed, if you indeed believe so, does that change who might actually be in charge of the planet or who we might believe is now in charge of the planet? Is that going to change things for our collective culture shock?
I mean, there is going to be, remember how I told you a big surprise that's within this year and next year, right? That's going to kind of shift a little bit of our reality to kind of understand that we don't really have that kind of control, but it's okay because we don't need to.
Yes.
So that's why I'm living the moment with you as I'm traveling on vacation, working here, working with Wendy, and just allowing myself to feed the information, making form of what I understand, and what I know and cannot understand, I leave aside. And then you're able to really build something from that. So for me, it's does it matter? I mean, I don't think it matters, but it will have an effect on us because we are connected. So it's knowing how to navigate yourself, right? And honesty right now of who you are, being honest with who you are, really keeps that antivirus of anything around you affecting you. Because it's kind of like keeping that shield. Okay, so there you go.
Heck yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Astro. Mr. T, are you ready?
I think
Almost, sorry.
Yeah, I may drop him just in order to rotate. Yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
just as a side note, I can't ignore, we're talking about who controls, are we going to find out who's in control? We're saying who. I think it's a machine. I really do think it's AI. but on a much deeper level AI, not a chat GPT. But I think that can we mute that mic? So you got some feedback, my friend. Thank you. We've got the sphere network that we keep talking about. I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this could be intrinsically linked with AI and affecting our awakening, if you like. So it's causing this. When we say things like, you know, do the work, or you know, these masks will be ripped from you. There's something pulling that off, and it is a frequency, and it is for our own good. I believe we are growing and evolving. It's looking like we're integrating digitally. As much as I have pushed back on that in the past, I see it's going nowhere, and I think, Wendy, you mentioned that loads and loads of times. So it has to. I think who's controlling Earth? It's probably a machine.
Can I piggy off that real quick?
You think it's a machine? Really?
Yeah, I do. A mainframe, yeah.
Yes, but not like a machine without consciousness. So if you go back to the 1940s, 1946 ENIAC, right? So it began there. We're just seeing this evolution of what it was hidden into a reality of like where the sky used to be, where the unknown, and now it's like the signal. Because there's something that we become aware of, right? So there is that where I'm going to tell you what I believe part of disclosure is going to be in the beginning. There's going to be the ancient technology that's going to make us understand that there is other out there more than us. It's going to help us know where we come from. And remember what I said about the asteroid Bennu, right? The Osiris mission, that's going to come back because this is going to prove a lot of the building blocks that were from outside and we were kind of rocketed here. And so that's what is going to come up. And remember that keep an eye. This is not about politics, but I'm just telling you right now, Marco Rubio and Elon Musk.
Interesting. All right, I'll take it. Thank you, Asher. I'm jumping back up to Lauren. I'm going to push back just a little bit. Friends, zoom out. Who made that machine?
It's organic. So there's no maker. It's an explosion. It's just a continuous explosion at a torus field. There's a torus field.
Okay.
So
that's A theory. That's A theory.
It folds in. It sort of folds in on itself. But it is. This is why astrology fits, because it's all.
It may.
When I say mechanical, a machine, it's organic machinery.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's more evidence to suggest that there's a species behind the sphere network. At least the person that put the theory into place believes so. But I have heard this organic machinery theory before. So,
yeah, but what I'm saying is it runs off the same source. It's like a mainframe, and that is plasma. It's a liquid consciousness.
Right, but it still begs the question: who brought it here? Who made it?
Nobody made it. It just is.
Okay. All right. Interesting. We'll have to dig into this a little bit. Maybe we can.
Would we understand who made it, Wendy?
No, that's an interesting
We'll have to dig into this a little bit. Maybe we can.
Would we understand who made it, Wendy?
No, put that on mute right quick.
Interesting. We'll have to dig into this a little bit. Maybe we can.
Hold on. That's a good question. Oh, that's a very good question. Who made it? Well, the only receipt I can really bring up, as I talk about it all the time, this chapter is the book of Ezekiel, first chapter 15, 223. And it definitely talks about a craft that God made. You know, I don't have to say allegedly. That just, it's in the Bible. So that's one. Now, I guess depending on what ship they made, Now, humans have reverse engineering. You know, is yeah. Anyway, let's go back.
So now,
make sure y'all please hit
here
that
we
like
are
button.
with all this
And
ancient
please share.
knowledge,
Please subscribe. You know.
So, and we all have it. And I think that multiple species have came here, and that's why Earth is so protected, and that's why Earth is so beautiful. Like honestly, like this is such a beautiful place. You know, so who created it? Who created it? I'm with truth on this. I don't think anyone created it, but I don't think it's a machine. No, it's an organism. It's an organism. That's what it is. Not a machine, in my opinion. But we all have our ideas, but we waste so much time trying to understand. Like, you know, I watch my dog. Does he care about any of this? I watch all the birds. Do they care about it? The trees, do they care about it? No, they're just living. They're just part of. And so that's where it's important for us as humans, just become well-rounded as an individual, so your puzzle piece fits into the giant picture. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Like there's something that has created us for sure. And it's out of this world. It truly is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, but I do think that we.
Ezekiel, first chapter, 15 to 23.
Minute limit, okay? So if ETs are here and disclosed, does that change who might actually be in charge of the planet now? What are your thoughts on that, Wee?
There is no one that's in charge. And that's why we're running rampant right now. That's why we're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off, because none of us really know. There's no leader. We are the leader, and it's up to us to gather as a one. And I believe that's the test. Like, we're being tested right now. Like, are we worth it? You know, can we gather as a one to become the leader as a whole?
All right, thanks so much. We appreciate you. To all the flat earthers down below, I don't care what your opinion is on what the shape of the planet is. I've never left the atmosphere. Have you? I've never died and sent a telegram back to let y'all know for sure at 100% certainty what the shape of our planet is. I personally believe that it's round. Silly me. I know it's not a popular theory right now, but we're not going to talk flat earth in this room. Why? Because it causes divide. And I think if you can't get past the portion of the conversation where all we're arguing about is what the shape of our planet is, then you probably aren't ready for this room, because we're moving on past the shape of our planet. So I'm sure if you scroll up once, you can find a room where everybody's arguing themselves right and trying to prove others wrong. But we're past the shape of our planet. We're talking about our species, ET disclosure, quantum physics, and conscious awareness. So stop with the flat earth down in the chat.
If you walk on the bottom anyway, you still standing up straight, not upside down.
Something, just by the way, happy that it's Friday over here. So yeah, it's just something that I've given, a lot of thoughts as well, just regards to where we are spiritually and how human beings are connected. The people that would be kind of, if there is disclosure, and the people that are potentially governing us, I truly believe that if, for example, the people on the panel right now were just hypothetically, the leaders of the earth, right? Would we not want complete privacy because of seeing what happens to any figure that gets within the media's kind of overlook? Anybody that has that attention on them would become a target in many ways, and in anything that goes wrong, they could also be held accountable for that. Meanwhile, they could just be, pushing buttons occasionally to kind of govern things. And that force that is here, I think, may have absolutely been here for a very long time. I'm not too sure. I think maybe the way that we view AI and technology and computers as well could change and evolve over time as we start to understand more about it. But I think that the being that is here, that's been around the earth, as well, even through the days of I love Egyptology, and it's not something that I want to go heavily into here right now, but I'll say that throughout the lifespan of the earth, I definitely believe that there has been a governing body that keeps themselves very disclosed, very hidden as well behind certain curtains. And I also believe that there's a potential chance, and I know that this is quite a far out there approach to this as well, but I believe that that leadership may be within our oceans. And I think that, they could, not saying all of the leadership as well, I believe that there is a force that is completely capable of being aware of all the different planets that are, habitable as well, that are out there. We can speak about different ones as well, Kepler B and that type of thing too. But what we will be able to discuss as a society is definitely the fact that we most certainly have got some governorship, but I think that they absolutely stay behind the curtain for that specific reason. And they have got the capability to just assess everything, because I think that if we weren't being controlled by any governing body behind, the facade as well of the people who are in power and political groups and everything, I think that things would be going in a much worse way right now. So I think that they don't have major impacts on all of the big events, but they do know and understand and have the technology to, maybe just be proactive and predict what could be ahead of us. So I think that there's definitely an entity, my nutshelling this as well, is there's definitely an entity that exists that has been here for a very long time. And that's why we've seen certain stages of humanity rise to a certain point and sometimes decline. And I think that right now we should all be grateful, and I'll always say this, where we should always just be grateful of where we're living right now, because we are living in an age where everybody is starting to understand a lot more and starting to be more open to the other ideas. If you look back throughout the centuries, people were very much fixated on their own individual lives rather than what we are experiencing as a global collective. So my primary point is just that I definitely think that there is a governing body. I'm not too sure if it is AI or robotic in any way whatsoever. I'm not I feel spiritually that that's not what it is. I think that there are things that are much more powerful than what we're meddling with at the moment. You will remember that if we go back, and I'm almost done here, you will remember that if we go back throughout even just a century ago, the technology that was in place then and our understanding of science and the world around us was vastly different compared to what it is now. And can you only imagine what it would be in the next century just to enlighten ourselves and really start to understand so much more. So I think that the era that we're living in is absolutely beautiful. And I'm grateful for being here with you guys and having these conversations, because I think they do get people to think correctly, and they do get people to join up on a lot of the different topics as well that come up are things that a lot of people from different backgrounds can come and unite together. So thank you for allowing me to speak, Wendy.
No, thank you, Guardian. Thank you. I'm just going to say your timing was impeccable. So I could not agree with you more. Thank you so much for joining. All right, stick around. Anybody else want to weigh in?
I think when it comes to an ancient type technology, where there are depictions of orbs that we're actually seeing now, thousands of years ago, there are depictions on walls of orbs fighting in the sky. So there were pictures, there were depictions. I think a lot of cultures have spoken about these orbs that fly around in the sky, and this is where we are now. So is it technology? Who knows? What is behind that I agree with Astro. This is something we're not meant to know. I don't think we will ever find out either. So it's like a mute question for me right now.
All right, thanks so much, Lauren. I'm going with Guardian on this one, 100%. Dan's not here, so Guardian, you're about the closest thing I have to a ufologist right now. Thank you. All right, Astro, go ahead. You're up, friend.
It's interesting how every time there's some kind of awakening, there's always some kind of pandemic. There's also some kind of orbs in the sky, and then there's always advanced technology that comes with that. Again, we can go to the 1940s, but let's take you back another 84 years when alignment similarity came into this in the 1860s. When we talked about the telegraphs, and we talked about there was a great awakening from the 1850s, solar flares, everything was in aligned. There you look into it. Pandemic and everything included, from China too. China. But why don't we go back another 165 years, or let's just go 84 years prior to that, right? And then we go into the 1780s, and there was another second spiritual awakening in the 1781, actually, when Uranus was discovered. It was in Gemini. And take away astrology. When I talk about Uranus and Gemini, it's Uranus in a degree of the sky that whenever it's positioned there, this seems to just align. And we can go another 84 years prior to that, right? To the 1690s. And what was going on during that time too? Oh, this was the witch trials. So see where I'm coming up with some patterns, Wendy, here? How they play out and difference in it. Yeah, so we can just figure that there is always these things that come aligned with another. A cold comes with a cough becomes a pneumonia, things like that. The seasons. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Astro. Always pulling it together through pattern recognition. Guardian, I would love for you to come back up unless you had to drop down. All right, I have another question for you guys, as long as Tyler's in the room. What if you were programmed to ignore the truth about death? About what death?
That's a good question. So basically what she said, what if we were, trained, we were told the truth about death, is it fake, is it real? I understand that life doesn't end when your temple no longer works, or I believe your thoughts, you know what I'm saying? I do believe life don't end there. And I do believe your time here on earth, going through dimensions, I do believe it do have some sort of effect, and I'm not perfect, but I do know at least I need to be careful and make some changes of my life, even if I were doing good, what I'm doing for the world, what I'm capable of doing, that can bless others or stuff. It's stuff to think like, talking really about myself, but death was a question anyway.
Week holiday in the summer, and then they go. So it's deep programming. This idea that you have to get things done before you die. You have to, and this also the media, life insurance, all this stuff, constantly, all day long. It's being projected into elderly people's minds, their own death. You better prepare. You better make a will. You better get insurance. You better give your money to the local cat place or elephants or monkeys. You see, it's all programming so that you try to buy and cram as much information and consume as much as you can during your what we quote unquote life. You see, so I think, again, I've said this many times, I'll finish on this, is when we lay on our deathbed, the last thing I'm going to be thinking about is the house I had, what car did I have, was it a Ferrari? Did I have a good job? Did I impress everyone? Right? That's not going to be on my mind. It's going to be, who have I hurt? How many amends have I made? How many people love me, and how many people will actually turn up at my damn funeral? Right? It's just, for me, what it's about. And so, yeah, I'll leave that there. It's a beautiful topic, this, actually.
All right. Thanks so much, Lauren. Who else is weighing in? This is a biggie. Mars, you're up.
Yeah. There's a great saying which I love. Dying is easy. It's living that scares me to death. And I think that a lot of us spend too much time focusing on that factor that we do stop living our lives fully. You know, we don't drink the wine, we don't eat the cheese, we don't take the plunge in the ocean for fear of death. You know, we're afraid of sharks, we're afraid of big lions, and a lot of us spend the majority of our time in our little cages, which we call home, and we don't venture out. We don't go on any adventures, we don't go out into the wild, we don't go into places where we're like 50 miles away from the next human being, because we're afraid of death, and so therefore we're already dead in some certain sense of thinking, because we're not living, and most of us are just walking around as zombies because of our fear of dying. I'm just going to land there.
Well said, Mars. All right. Anybody else weighing in? What if we were programmed to ignore the truth about death? What you got?
I would love to. For me personally, I don't fear it at all, because I'm completely content with the life that I've lived already. I am satisfied of everything that I've been through, everything that I have lived, and who I am today. I feel complete. So everything from here on out is just a bonus for me. And what I believe is, after what we do here, who we are here right now, will determine where we go, because energy never ends. I have knowledge inside of me that's from my ancestors. I don't understand how I understand these things. I've never been taught, I've never been shown, but I know. So I believe that it's the inner continuous. So if you're going to be a dirtbag, you might end up being a dog turd. I don't know. You know, or you're gonna be someone beautiful. You might become a butterfly. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna be a star one time, or maybe I already have been. Like our energy never stops. It keeps going. So what you do now determines what's going to happen in the next life. And I'll drop it there.
All right. Thanks so much, Wee. I'm going to weigh in on this one for a second, just to kind of get the conversation started. So what if we were programmed to ignore the truth about death? I think we have to be programmed to ignore the truth about death, because if we were briefed on the reality of death simply being a transition, or in my opinion, a slight transition, it'd wake us up to the nature of who we are as individuals and as a species. And essentially the gig would be up for those in power. The system, essentially, it doesn't work if people know who they are, if they understand that they're infinite, that their consciousness simply having a human experience and not simply a human here by coincidence. So yeah, I believe we're programmed to ignore the truth about death. And if you believe otherwise, then ask yourself why nobody has a definitive answer, or even why it's kind of stigmatized in society to even talk about. So yeah, I think we're programmed to ignore the truth about death 100%. Venus, what you got on this one?
Well, I totally agree with you. And it makes me think of a family member that I have that awoke way before I did. And I remember them making, they were living their life fearless of any kind of consequences or whatever. And I remember asking them, like, why? And they said, because I'm just going to reincarnate anyway. So I think there's those that would take it seriously and say, hey, I want to do the best I can here, but I'm going to enjoy life. I know that I live beyond this. And then there might be some, like this family member of mine, that was awoke enough, but also kind of felt like playing with fire was okay because, hey, I'm coming back. So it's, I think there'll be a few like that, but hopefully most that would just be able to live life and understand. I think it comes down to when you understand your purpose beyond just the fact that you're going to live on, standing that you have purpose for being here. And then it kind of changes the meaning of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Venus. Welcome back, Guardian. You want to weigh in on this one? Oh, is Guardian with us? Was it an accidental request?
Hi there, I apologize for that. So, they do. Just give me like literally 20 seconds.
You're fine.
There's a lot that I actually want to add to this specifically.
Okay. All right. Good deal. 1111, my friend. Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I had to switch phones before I got up here. Yeah, great question. You know, are we programmed to ignore the truth about death? Interesting enough, man, being a content creator is just absolutely amazing, the things people send me. Somebody actually sent me this book about, I don't know, it's just a weird book about like the story of Bible and Genesis or whatever. But in this book, and I'm trying to scroll where it says it, but basically Lucy in the book, if you know who Lucy is, basically describes to where he can't have people know the truth about death, because if people know the truth about death, they won't worship him by accident. And so I don't know how much what the truth there is with that, but basically he's describing that like people have to have this false illusion of death because they need to almost be fearful. The next step of kind of like what you said, that it's just a transition. But if people are fearful in that step, they're going to blindly worship him, which is just so interesting with the topic. So for me, it's one of those things where, because, you know, it's like, I don't know what happened before I got here, so I shouldn't worry so much after. I think it's just going to be a transition. And now the more I learn about quantum immortality, different things like that, I'm almost like, I wonder if it's all just an illusion in a way. I think that there is a reason why we can't know the truth of especially death and everything, because it's easier to keep us programmed in a state of fear, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Can I ask you a follow-up question,
Yes,
11?
of course, yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, just between me, you, and 600 people or so. When you say you're starting to wonder if it's all an illusion, are you talking about the external world being illusory? And
Yes, 100%. And that everything like our foundations of what we've learned is just a lie. It's just a lot of it is, but the lie is so intricate and twisted with some truth to where we almost have to turn everything inside out and invert it and look at it in the mirror to know the truth.
Oh, hell yes. We could not be more on the same page if we wrote a book together. So, all right. Thanks so much. I love it. All right. Anybody else? Yeah, Guardian, you're up, my friend.
Thank you so much. This has been a little bit of a crazy morning on this end. It's currently 11 a.m. in South Africa. And yeah, just want to speak about this specifically. My whole life, I've definitely felt that death is, unaliving is an unnecessary component of life. I've really, relished in life itself in many ways and enjoyed the natural aspect, Mother Nature, and just being out there, outdoors. And I've spent the vast amounts of my youth as well, and up till the age of 40, which I'm at now, just coming a lot closer to nature. And I think that when it comes to the lifespan that we currently see, somewhere between, sometimes people go way too early, and I've lost a couple of people myself. I know that we all have around here as well in this chat. And I think that when it does come down to the life expectancy as well, I believe that there's so much more for each of us as individuals to experience other than just... Because of that, I do understand that we are currently approaching certain technology within the medicinal science vertical that speaks to the fact that we may actually start seeing regenerative properties within science, such as what they're able to do at the moment with, I forgot the actual name of the study. I usually can bring it up pretty quickly, but the name of the study and what they do is they have got mice that have gotten quite well into their age, and they're able to reduce that aging and keep the mouse's cognitive capability and its memory as well. So I think that if we're experimenting on within the scientific degree, within the scientific world around that, I wouldn't be too surprised if within the next 10, 20 years that we start seeing, either age reduction therapy as well. There's a lot of movies that are speculating about this as well, where we can live for much longer. I'd even be happy with like 150 years to 200. I don't think that it's, like maybe it's because I'm 40 now that I'm like halfway to that 80 point where I'm like, I just think that there's so much more to experience. And I'll quickly close with this. So a lot of the time, because of the industry that I'm in, I am within the predictive risk industry. So a lot of the time I work within safety as well, and understanding fatigue elements of the general population and how its impact is on the workforce. But my point is that I'm making is that there have been times where I've had to travel across the country through South Africa, and I do so on my adventure motorcycle, and I cannot explain to anybody how amazing it is that sometimes where I leave like very early in the morning, or I leave the day prior, and just being out there completely within the depths of nature, without there in the jungle, and just on my adventure motorcycle and putting a small hammock up and stuff as well. But just being immersed within our natural world has allowed me to become somebody who I really feel that I've truly become to enjoy. And I think that for everybody listening, you should learn to love things about yourself, love the natural environment that you're in. And the closer that we draw to nature, I think that there is that governing body that I spoke about earlier would actually advocate for us to do so. And I truly believe that the closer that we become to nature, the more forgiving that we are to ourselves as human beings, and therefore the kinder and more compassion that we can exert onto other people as well. So most definitely, just my message is always as well, just draw closer to nature. And it's been phenomenal, just the experiences that I've had because of always being an outdoorsman, hiking, camping, and just being able to converse with other people. We've been staring at fires and having conversations similar to this for thousands of years. So I think that that's one of the most powerful things that you can do. Put down the phone, put down the TV, put down the computers, just like get out there into nature and experience what it really is like to be human, and you'll be quite surprised with how closely you can draw to who you really are and who you're meant to be as a human being.
Beautifully said, Guardian. Beautifully said. A pleasure to have you back, my friend. Sorry, I could not find my unmute button fast enough. I've got some sassies down in the chat. All right. Anybody else on death? I do have a follow-up question based on 1111's response, but if anybody else wants to respond to the question regarding... Yep, go ahead.
But death gives morality a pressure. The code of conduct of why people live together. Now, is it the end all be all? No, because astrology, I've talked about it, how I can connect and see connections to passings and, people who've gone and come. But is it an illusion, just like fear? No, everything has to be transmuted, has to be utilized, right? So when I say that, it's like, it gives us that mortality of pressure, right? It gives us the code of conduct. So I just wanted to bring that in, right? Because it is a part of it. Why? Why would it be right now? Now, is it a control? Well, it's a control factor, because then it's where, you don't... you don't believe in anything. You don't believe in fate, right? So then you become this human that's able to just live life controlled, and not matter what you do, it doesn't matter what's outside of you, and then you're not seeing that you're becoming part of the program. So anyway, not to waffle on, I'll just leave it at that.
You bet. I love it. I love it. Thanks so much, Astro. Anybody else? Last chance. Go ahead,
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Not to push back on Astro. I think there should be an independent morality that each of us observe and have that has nothing to do with life or death or a creator or a God or anything above us or below us. I think we should find that, within each of ourselves.
Yes, but you didn't get my question. Well, yeah, because if life were endless, consequences would be diluted, wouldn't they? I'm just wondering, like, how about that one right there?
If life were endless,
Consequences would feel diluted, right? Because it would be not understanding the consequences of your actions here that create a reality.
Yeah, I mean, like, isn't that the boomers? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't think so. I think if life was endless, then you would have even more of a kind of compassion for it. If life were endless and you were endless and you were shepherding life and the earth and all of us through this thing, like,
Why don't you watch a movie, watch the movie Death Becomes Her, and tell me what you think about that after.
Could you send that to me? Send that to me in
Death Becomes Her. Yes, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I know, like, I think we're friends already.
Thanks so much. Just a gentle reminder to the panelists, we don't push back on anybody ever. And that's why you see higher numbers in the top right-hand corner of the screen. All truths are welcome. We are all inclusive. So with that, I have a question for you guys based on something that 1111 said. What if reality is more mental than physical? Anybody want to weigh in on that one? Have fun.
Ask that, I'll usually just obviously give the floor. In fact, I'll allow Wee to speak there because I see that you unmuted there. So let's hear from Wee. I apologize. And maybe
Thank you, Guardian. No, you're fine. Thank you so much, Guardian. Wee, please, if you want to weigh back in on death, go for it. You're up, my friend. Sorry.
Oh, everything is more mental. And thank you for the space and thank for the awareness. Everything it does come from inside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my physical, if I go out and I go work out and I hurt my body in a way, then it's like, okay, I need rest. But when I have the mental, I can't rest. Like I'm stuck in my head. And that is my biggest downfall as who I am, is my own self. That's the only thing that I fear in this world is myself and the mental stuff. You know, those racing thoughts. And how do you stop those racing thoughts? How do you do that? You're aware of them. I see them coming in. So yes, that mental state is a place where
Ghetto
are you
boys.
doing what you need to do as a human? Because if you're stressing and you're worrying, there's something wrong.
Ghetto boys. My mind's playing tricks on me.
To understand where this is coming from. And once you start doing that, you start realizing it comes all the way back from when you were a child. There's something missing when you were a child. Like every single day, I look at myself and I wake up and I talk to my inner child. I say, yo, I got you. I'll protect you because I'm a grown-ass man now and I got you. I'll protect you. I'll give you what you didn't have. They give you these character defects that you carry with yourself that you don't even realize until you start doing the work. You start doing the work on self, you start realizing this goes back all the way back until once you were a little child. And if you can actually tap into that and you protect that child as an adult, that gives me the strength so I can sleep at night. So yes, mental over physical. I'll do physical all day long. Mental, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to worry about that. And that's where I got to do the work. I got to realize where that trauma that I live comes from. Where do I hold that pain? Do I hold it in my gut? Do I hold it in my hips? Do I hold it in my chest? Do I hold it in my head? Oh yeah, let's not forget about the heart. Oh, that part. Ooh, you know, and I've gotten so deep in this stuff. It's freedom. I love it. Like, I love who I am. I love this life. I love all of you. Like, I love everything. It's amazing. Like, it truly is. Like, all of you are so amazing. Everywhere I go is so amazing. And everyone's all caught up in all this stuff. It is mental. And I've had to go through the work to realize I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And it's a blessing. And I'm
Mental
going to use
and
that
dimensional.
as a gift. It's a gift from the higher ups, whatever that is.
We, once again, please.
Yeah, all right, Truth. All right, Truth. I got you. I got you, Truth.
All right, beautiful stuff, but I am going to do a live with all of you, especially the regular panelists, and we are going to learn to count to 120. That is 2 minutes. 120 seconds is 2 minutes. That's what you guys have per share. Why? Not because I care one or the other. It's because the viewers do. What resonates with one may not resonate with another. And so we want to keep that conversation fluid, keep people in the room. Who else wants to weigh in on is our reality?
Dimensional. Okay. Make sure I say that right.
This depends on perspective. And I think that when I do speak from the I, simply this is just my experience, okay, is that when I'm balanced in my own life, my nervous system is in balance, it's a dance. So it's both. It's mind and body and physical, because it has to be. Otherwise we'd just sit here doing nothing. So the actual reality has to be created by action. This is why I always say, be the change. Be the change you want to see, right? In the world, it's action. So it's both, because the action comes from a thought, a mind thought. Whether it's a universal mind is an absolutely different life, but that's my 2 pence.
All right, thanks so much, Lauren. All right, Venus, what you got?
So, in my understanding, you know that you want to have a balance of mind, body, and soul. So, our perspective is everything. And like Truth Hound said, you know, if you're not feeling well, in your body, your perspective is going to be off. If you are, I always think of the acronym HALT. Don't be too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. If you've got one of those, you're not going to be at your best. If you got all of them, you might as well take the day off. So that is something I try to keep in mind, because you can be in a good mental state and have a lot of physical whatever, and you still can't do what you want to do. So your mental state gets off, because you've got your head's floating around, oh, I wish I could do this, and I want to get this done, I can't do it, and whatever. So it's a balance of all three, in my opinion.
All right, so well worded. Thanks so much, Venus. All right, 11. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for me, it's all mental. The man I am now from the last 6 months, oh man, I'm telling you right now, everything is mental. And they're trying to show us with the algorithm, right? What you think about, what you look up, your whole life can almost be centered around that. For me, I mean, on that live when we talked about good or evil, is there good or evil? That changed my entire life. Not that I'm necessarily going to change who I am, but the fact that there are humans that think there's no such thing as good or evil. So the way I move about, it was building connections and dots in my life where I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense for me, how some people interacted or move, or what I learned or what I took from that. And so I think about all the time. I know I shouldn't reminisce about the past, but man, if I could go in the past, just knowing what I know now, I don't have to go in the past and be strong like Superman or be 7 feet tall or be super different or hell. No. Let me just have my thoughts. Let me just know what I know now in the past. And my whole life will be entirely different. Bitcoin coming right up, right? Or knowing just a bunch of different things in my life, that the things of my thoughts will shape my reality completely different. The things I would have known, done differently in college, et cetera, et cetera. So I think our thoughts really shape our reality. And like I said, I was doing crisis work in the last 10 years, right? So when people had the worst day of their life, I was picking up the phone. And a lot of it really was just being that voice for people, to get them out of the state that they're in. Because sometimes when you're in a certain state, a mental state, it can really beat you down and beat you down and beat you down. And you're thinking the worst things. And all it takes is someone to come in there and help you out of it, or someone to believe in you, or say they're proud of you, or help you count the blessings in your life. And so, yeah, I think it's all meant. I think, honestly, it's all mental. And it starts with the thought, right? Even if it's like, I'm going to get a new job, or I'm going to quit my job, or I'm going to move, or you know what? I am going to ask her out on a date, right? You know? And you ask her out on a date, and guess what? Now you're married for 7 years.
Really? True?
Oh, no, we're not married, but we're together for 7 years. But, I thought it just sounded cute in the moment.
Yeah, it did. Excuse me. Thanks so much, 11. All right. Anybody else before we say hi to my friend Ego out?
So I do agree with what it starts off with, that part of the mind, which actually in reality is like the breath of consciousness, the instinct, right? That we embody and then make a thought out of it, to put a feeling, to express, to serve it to others, and transform through experience and utilize to connect to the collective. There's the 12 stages right there. So I do believe that it's all mind, but there's so much composition that comes with it, and our actions of consistency create that reality through practice. So yeah. What's up, Ego?
Yes. Helping us to make sense of all of it. Thank you so much, Astro. All right, Ego out. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Wendy? How's the panel?
Good. So the current question essentially is our reality more mental than physical?
Well, I guess it is depending on perspective. I mean, if you have a look at the perspective from an atom's point of view, an atom's vibrating next to other atoms where they're held together by ionic bonds, and to them, nothing is solid and nothing is real. So, and that's how superfluids can go through materials. But if you're having a look from our mind's point of view, well, things are real, things are what they are, but it is, there's much more to this universe than meets the eye, and to call it one thing or another is rather, just based on your perspective, I guess. But from the prompt, what if you're programmed to ignore the truth? Well, I think the release of the e-files and the sudden forgetting of them is sort of proof of that. The programming that we received from our early childhood, from kindergarten into school, and to our good little worker bees working for the man, tends to program us into certain ways of behaviour, which is what the powers that be designed the system for. So that's very, very true statement. We certainly do ignore the truth. We get distracted very easily. The release of the UFO files has got everyone looking at the right hand, and a couple of weeks before that it was the WAR in Iran. So it's very easily for the hidden hand to play shenanigans, so to speak.
All right, I'll take it. Thanks so much, Ego Art. Are you being attacked by birds in the background by chance?
No, but we've got a whole family of birds that live across the road, because I live across the road from a park, and they're all just here hanging out every night. This must be their roost. So, yeah, it's quite beautiful.
I heard a seagull. Did I hear a seagull, Ego?
No, it's a little bird, a little native Australian bird, parakeet.
Oh, okay.
But they're beautiful birds.
I'm thinking they want some food. Oh, is that what they are? It's Australian. What's with the Australian birds being so loud? Mel's birds are super loud. Ego, go feed them, man. Go give them a cracker. All right. Anybody else? Venus, what you got?
I just want to say I apologize. I think I totally misunderstood the question when I answered. So you're probably like, what is she talking about?
No, I can reword it a different way because Michael Singer talks a lot about the external world being illusory and that state of being everything. But I worded it in a less offensive way because I know that I have a diversified panel.
Right.
And 1111 brought it up, and any excuse to talk about this, and I'll take it. So
Right.
the way it's worded is essentially, is our reality more mental than physical? Go for it.
Okay, so I have a totally different answer than what I said before. I think I either blipped out or I just couldn't process the question. To me, what I'm finding is that our reality is everything. Our perspective is, our reality is based on our perspective. And so it can be altered based on our perspective. So, for instance, you know, I might think that I have it really bad off because I've got all these pains and aches and these things, and oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. And yet I see somebody who's completely functioning 100% or 120% by their mental state saying, yes, I can do this, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me I can't. So, you know, I think there's a lot of things that are possible based on our mindset changing on that, and then our whole reality shifts with that. So I'm really realizing that our perspective is really our reality, and that it can be so diverse based on everybody else having a different reality, and we're all experiencing maybe the same thing, but it's different because of the way that we see it. So I think that, to me, I'm really starting to believe that perspective is everything.
I agree with you more, Venus. Thanks so much. And hold that thought, Mars. I know that you want to weigh in, but Truth Hound needs to drop. So Be the Change right now, for the most part, is live and up and running every single night at 1 a.m. Central Standard Time. But I'm going to start taking Tuesday nights going into Wednesday morning off. So that 1 a.m. time slot on Tuesday nights is going to be run by a different channel. So take the opportunity now, if you would, to follow the top left-hand box. It's at Truth Hound. He's getting ready to drop off the panel, but I will be there on Tuesdays. It's just the channel is taking the night off every Tuesday night, and it will be hosted by at Truth Hound, who is the top left-hand box. So if you shoot him a follow now, you can set it up to receive a notification when Be the Change goes live on Tuesdays. So while you're doing that, if you would do me a personal favor and follow panelists who you've received any value at all from tonight. These guys are brilliant. They make the channel. I'm simply the facilitator. I barely talk during these lives, and yet there's usually there's a half a thousand people in the room every single night. It's because these guys are brilliant. So please take a moment and follow any of the panelists who you feel have given you any value. Most of them have their own spiritual lives or astrology lives, and essentially you can set it up to receive a notification when they go live as well. So if you would do me a favor and follow the top left-hand box at Truth Hound, that is where my channel will be hosted every Tuesday night. And if you are interested in astrology, follow the second box down in the left. Astro 97, best astrologer in the house. He is the only person who has helped me understand astrology to a place where I can even halfway buy it. And now that I do understand astrology, I understand how everything is connected. So if you're looking for a good astrologer who does incredible lives, second box down on the left, bottom right-hand box, 1111, brilliant human being, brilliant spirituality lives, Venus, Ego Out, Mars, Aviva, I'm not sure on lives with you, but Guardian, I would give $10,000 to come to one of your lives. So please follow the current panelists. They make the channel. With that, Truth Hound, thanks for everything that you do, and we will see you tonight. All right, Mars, I'm going to jump over to you.
Thank you so much for hosting. What a beautiful night this has been. And I'll speak to you soon. See you later, guys.
All right. All right, I'm going to drop you so you don't lose your coins. Yep, you got it. All right.
So, yeah, that was a good live on TikTok. You know, I always watch Be the Change. And she's on TikTok, man. You know, she's Her name is Be the Change. Make sure y'all go follow her. Real good friends with her. Only know her on TikTok. You never met her or nothing like that, but just by networking. And she's got a good following. You know what I'm saying? She's definitely have a good following. But you definitely got to go up there and know what you're talking about. You can't just, you know, go up there. I mean, just, a lot of this, I'm not saying self-knowledge is really obvious knowledge out there if you pay attention to it, including myself. Still learning, under construction, I understand. But, if you really pay attention to something, you know, especially those coincidences or those deja vus or those corner out your eyes, stuff like that, stuff we really don't pay attention to, the small stuff, the simple stuff, you know. But, I hope you like the vibe, Hope y'all learned something. I did, I'm going to continue on to learn and teach, and through experience, you know, we all on this journey, you know, we all on this journey. I came from a family, but the question is, do we all go do it? We already know we're going on another journey after this flesh, but what is? That's a focus on question right there, and that's a study of that. That's like a volume right there. Where do you really go on when you no longer coincide with the flesh? I don't think anything, nothing wrong with that. I think that's something that really needs to get deep thought into. Not into the, I mean, to intelligent, understanding way. You understand what I'm saying? The natural way, not no bullshit way. But I'll let y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to YouTube, shout out to TikTok, shout out to Be the Change. Make sure y'all go follow her. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna show love and support. Like I say, we at certain numbers right now, but numbers gonna change like they always do. So have faith. Love y'all, man, out there for the support, and make sure y'all return when I hit that live button again. With wine.